This is NATV Network.
All about getting out of your own way so that you can just set foot on your journey, whatever that is, so that you can start making progress. I think a lot of times we have grand ideas, or we have an idea of what we want to do in our life, where we want to go, and then we do nothing about it. And we get stuck in our head and give ourselves all the doubts. But, just start is talking about, how do we do that? How do we get out of our own way? And how can we just start? So you can find me on my YouTube channel under my full name, Melanie Schaefer-Meyer. You can also find me on my website, heycoachmel.com. You can also find me on Instagram. It's life_Mel on Instagram, and then also on Facebook. Yeah, I think this is something that we all ask ourselves. It's just like, why try? And I think a lot of times we have, like I was just mentioning, we have these big ideas. I don't know if you have these moments where you have these big thought downloads and moments of inspiration, or moments of lots of motivation, or get really excited about something. And then you go home and your primitive brain is just like, I am scared about this, or I'm nervous, or this is why this is not going to work out, or, we probably won't make anything of it. And you just have like all of these doubts and just this storm of, why try? If I start it, I'm probably not going to finish, right? So your brain is trying to answer that question for you already. Your primitive brain, the keep you safe brain, the one that says, I'm not sure about this. But your soul, your mind already knows the answer to why. You got that answer when you were having that moment of excitement and moment of curiosity, moment of inspiration, when you're having those thought downloads and it was coming to you. There was something in there that was like, I want to do this, and here's why. It means something to me in this way. People chase things all the time because of how they think it's going to make them feel. And so when they're feeling inspired, they're saying, I want to do it because it creates this XYZ meaning for me. And when they're asking themselves why try, and they're giving themselves all the doubt, they're thinking, well, maybe it's because if I don't do it, I won't be disappointed. I'll keep myself safe. I won't get hurt. Yeah. So I think when you ask yourself that question, why try? And we all face that. Why? that's when you get quiet and really answer it, because the primitive brain will tell you, say, how to keep yourself safe, answer. And it's starting to make you think that why try? There's a negative reason to like retract. But if you say, okay, I hear you. I understand you're trying to keep me safe. I got you. And then answer it for real. Your gut already knows the answer. So I was actually thinking about this yesterday, and I remember some of the hardships that I've experienced in my life. I spent about a decade and a half inside of depression, and that was a very hard period for me. And I remember hitting my lowest point and asking that question, why? And one of my answers that came to me was that someday I knew that I would need to deliver my messages to somebody outside of myself, to a bigger audience, to somebody that would need motivation when they're at their bottom or their beginning and wondering, why try? My why is for the other people that I can help. So this is something that I face with, I would say, 99% of the people that I meet, whether it's acquaintances, friends, or people that I coach with. I just get these little peeks into the grandiosity of their human potential. And the person's individual worth is bundled up inside of every single person is born with gifts and talents and abilities and this uniqueness that only belongs to them, right? And they each have their own sphere of influence. And as we grow and develop those skills and talents and abilities, we can start to expand that sphere of influence, right? But what I often see is just these little peeks into their highest self, who they could be, who they want to show up as, who do they want to become. And sometimes there are times when I can see who they can be, and they don't see it yet. And that's the most beautiful thing about being a coach, is I get to believe in people when they're just like, I want to do this thing. I don't know how. And I'm like, let me help you, because I believe in it, because I can see where you could go with this. I can see where you're going to take off with this. So when I'm helping somebody, when I'm interfacing with somebody, I want every person to really tap into the very core center of who they are, the talents and gifts, and figure out what you brought into this world. What are you good at? What do you like? But also take from that center and grow it to your highest potential. Where could I go with that? What can I do with that? And that's what I see in people. And I help them just start that journey, start to bridge that gap between what did I bring in this world and where am I going with it? Because every person is unique. And even if you have two people who are very similar, grew up in the same household, they're going to go on a different journey. They have the same parents, but they have two different experiences about their upbringing. So every person is going to take from their experience and take from their skill set and go in a different direction. And so my job as a coach is always to just show them their mind. What are their thoughts? What are their thoughts about where do they want to go? What do they see? What steps do they want to take? Are they ready to take? And also those thoughts that are maybe holding them back, so that I can show them maybe the spots where they could shed a little light on something that needs to be shed or grown or remolded in some way. So I think it's important to really think about where you want to go with your inspiration thought download. You're like, I want to do this. Okay, well, what does that look like? What is that? All the details, like write down, what are you trying to create, and visualize that. And the important thing about visualizing that is training your brain to see something that hasn't happened yet, because the more that you do that, the more that your brain starts to believe that it actually exists. Sometimes the brain doesn't distinguish between programming and actual memory. So it thinks that it actually exists out there. I just have to go get it, even though you haven't created it yet. Yeah, I mean, the more that you visualize it, the more that you write it out, picture it out, define it in a lot of different ways, the more that you spend time with it, the more it starts to feel real and that you can just go get it, rather than it's this unknown, vague thing that I really don't have attachment to. Then it starts to become more familiar to you. And so you're able to train your brain to be less afraid of it. Right? So, I mean, just this step in and of itself is that brainstorming piece. It's like what we were talking about in the first episode with the Cheshire Cat in Alice in Wonderland. The Cheshire Cat said something to the effect of, well, where are you going? And Alice says, I don't really know. And the Cheshire Cat says, well, then it doesn't really matter which way you go, because any way would be great, right? So what you're trying to do is visualize what it is that you want, okay? And you do that often. And you have that brainstorming, get it, like you said, pen to paper. And we've got to write it out, define it, and then keep revisiting it, because it's not something that you can do just once. To make it real, you have to visualize it every day. Please. Oh, I was just going to say, we were touching on that when we started this episode. I try. And you kind of knew your why. And I kind of hinted on the fact that when we chase something, we do it because of what we think it will make us feel. So let's say, for example, somebody who is chasing a job. Well, they think, well, I'm getting a job because it's going to make me money. No, you're actually chasing it because you want to feel certain that you can pay your bills and that you can buy food and whatever else extra, have X amount of disposable income.
Right.
So you don't want the money, you want what the money will make you feel. I want to feel certain. Why do you want that job, that specific job? Well, why did you choose that profession? Maybe it's important to you. Maybe it's a sense of significance that what you are or what you do matters, right? Or maybe it's a salesperson and they travel a lot for work and you appreciate the variety that it brings to you in your life. I need that sense of having newness in my life. So when you're tapping, and this goes along with specifically speaking about a job, why do we go out for the job? There are different elements, like I'm saying, with the money, with the specific profession selection that we think it will make us feel. And it could be another thing like love and connection is one of the human needs that we have. And sometimes it's just that connection to self. This is who I am. This is what I do. And so sometimes it's that self-expression. It's that connection to self. The reasons why what we do. Another reason people do it is to have that contribution to something greater than themselves. And that's why I'm a life coach, is because I really feel like I am meant to contribute to something greater than me, developing other people. And also personal growth is one of those. And I really enjoy personal growth, but that's not why I'm a life coach. That's why I keep going to podcasts, because I like personal growth and development. That's why I buy all the books, and sometimes I don't even read them, right? So when we are choosing the things that we choose, a lot of times it's to fulfill these human needs. And there's those 6 core human needs. But there's a whole gamut of feelings that come associated with those core needs that we have, that we're trying to fulfill. How do we want it? How do we want to feel? Right. So that is all about taking this big thing and breaking it down into those small steps. I talked a little bit earlier about maybe somebody who's going to football practice, who's visualizing the game. Then you're visualizing winning. But to win the game, you have to visualize yourself making across the goal line. And before you do that, you've got to visualize yourself actually getting to practice and practicing plays. right? And before you get to practice, you've got to make sure you get up in the morning, right? So that you can get to practice. Okay. And before that, you've got to make sure that you eat right and also get some good sleep so that you're not. So, okay. So like, what's good. That next thing? Like, if you want to write a book is so overwhelming. How many pages do you want to write? Maybe 1,000-page book or 500-page book, right? So a person who's authoring, so you may want to break it down into what's your outline and then start on that chapter. And you're like, I don't know how to write a chapter. Well, just spend the time and write for 15 minutes. Just start clicking keys. You know what I mean? Just start writing. Start writing, doggone it. Yeah. So it's, you have to just break it down into those little steps. And sometimes it's taking baby steps. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how. This is really scary. Or like, I literally cannot see my next step. All I can see is like the light in front of me and the step that I'm taking now. But you have to be brave enough to just take that step, and your gut will tell you. Your gut will say, okay, if I'm trying to lose weight, I can do this workout today. We can do that. I'm not a year down the road in this weight loss journey, but I can treat my body right today. I can take in my right nutrition. I don't know how I'm going to do this, but today I can do this. I can do my workout, right? So whatever that next step is, you just focus on that little bit, even if it's a baby step, even if it's in the dark. So I love the wrong step. I love the wrong step so much because in my mind as a coach, there's no wrong step, because even the wrong step will teach you something. Be like, oh, now I know something. That's actually the wrong way. And now I see the right way, where you didn't see that before you took the wrong step. I think it's important to remember that you're the person that took that step, even if it maybe wasn't the right one. And it's just, you're the person that took that step. You're the person that learned something from it. And as long as you have that attitude of, I'm taking steps and I am learning, and now I know more than I did before I took that step, then I'm further along than I would have been if I had just stayed on the couch, right? Man, the couch is so inviting. It's comfortable. Maybe there's a lap blanket. We can talk about this in a different episode, or maybe I'll have to do something on YouTube. But how does the saying go? I'm going to have to, and this one isn't even mine, so I might just butcher it. There's no
all right. Way. It's all right. It's Open Session Podcast. So you can butcher anything with me. Go ahead. They don't like it. They don't have to watch this show. Somebody will watch it. Go ahead.
There's no growth in the comfort zone, and there's no comfort in the growth zone.
Got it. What does that mean to you with the life that you have led and the bouts of depression to where you are now and the process of life that you go through now? What does that saying mean to you, my friend?
So, and this is one of the things that I teach my clients when they come to me. We talk about the things that you're willing to feel to accomplish the tasks that you're out to accomplish, the goals and the visions that you have. And one of those things I always challenge people is to be willing to feel uncomfortable. It's that edge, you have this circle of comfort that you live in, and to live right on the edge of that comfort zone or even just past it, to just live in that discomfort space, to be comfortable with uncomfortable, is such an amazing space to be in, because you're always on the edge of something new. You're always on the edge of, I'm not sure. And you just, Kathy, that's my mom. You do grow in discomfort. She's so right. I learned a lot from her.
Go ahead. No, please go ahead.
My mom is one of those that taught me a lot about positive affirmations and self-talk, and also my dad. But thanks, Mom. She gives me a lot of good thoughts.
I love it. Go ahead, you were saying.
But just living on the edge of your comfort zone, just being comfortable with discomfort allows you to invite the newness that is coming to you, the changes that will be happening in your life. Whatever that you're trying to create will be new, which means to your brain, this is not comfortable. And so to create that newness, you have to be willing to be uncomfortable so that you can incorporate and welcome and invite that newness. And that's what helps you grow your comfort zone, because as soon as you add that newness, that's now in your comfort zone. Oh, I know you. You're with me. We can hang out. And now you got to go chase that next thing. So it's like what you were just saying. I took that step, but it was the wrong thing. Well, guess what? That wrong step is now your companion as knowledge. Now you can take it and say, okay, I'm going to take this other step. Well, maybe it's wrong. And you can just keep figuring it out until you kind of start to define where you're going.